I worked at World of Disney, it was a very, very, very large Disney store. I believe at the time it was the largest Disney store in the world. And I was a third shift leader working there, and I had only been there for about a month. And I learned that the third shift cast members at Disney were very different than the dayside cast members. And we were still trying to find our groove and how we were going to work together. Now, one day I come in, and as I'm getting the notes from the dayside leaders, they let me know that one of the windows, the merchandising windows that had this huge display of Woody and Jessie from Toy Story, had fallen and left a huge hole in the wall. And so they just passed it off to me. And as I'm going through and reading through other notes, there's notes that there was going to be a huge walk the next day with all of the top Disney World executives. And so immediately go into panic mode, but pass off the assignments to my cast members. And then I went to the window to see what we could do. Ended up pulling a cast member, and that cast member and myself worked on it all night long. By the next morning, it was in good shape. It wasn't the best, but it was in good shape. Now, touch base with all of the cast members, walked the store. The store looked phenomenal. And one of my cast members, as he was leaving, comes up to me and says, "That was really cool." Now, I'm thinking he's talking about the window, because I was kind of proud of it. But he explained that it wasn't the window. It was, he knew there was a big walk. He knew I was a new leader. And instead of, in his words, instead of me stressing about it and writing them and being all over them all night long, instead I let them do their job and trusted them to do it. That wasn't my intention, but it was a huge learning opportunity for me. Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me for this week's Weekly Wisdom. This week, we're in our fourth installment of the 7 deadly sins of leadership. And this week, we are going to be talking about the sin of micromanaging. Now, I may have been and still under stress become a micromanager. And that night that cast member gave me kudos for not micromanaging was a huge wake-up call for me, because they did the job. They did the job, and it was phenomenal. And they started trusting me in that moment because I trusted them. Even though it was inadvertent on my part, I trusted them. And that, to this day, is still one of my favorite teams that I've ever worked with, because it was such a tough job and we were so few people to do it. But we trusted each other and we got through things. And that was a very valuable lesson early on in my career. So we're going to go through, if you are a micromanager, it's okay. You can work on it. It can get better. So we're going to go through, we're going to offer some tips and tricks to not micromanage. Now, Forbes had an article while I was doing research for this, and in that article it said it had the 95 rule. And I'm going to read it because for some reason, if I don't read it, I get tongue twisted. So the 95 rule: accept 90% of perfect performance 95% of the time, and a manager will micromanage 95% less. So what does this mean? It means that if you have a employee that's coming in and they're giving really, really good work, it's 95% there, accept it. You do this 95% of the time. So save that 5% for when it's critical that it is 100% right. So accept 95% of perfect performance 95% of the time, and you will micromanage 95% less. The times that you do have to be a lot further in the details and in the weeds will be the time when it's truly critical, not all the time. Now, if you're anything like me, recovering micromanager myself, then that thought just used to stress me out, because I was responsible for the result. And if I didn't deliver the results, I was going to get in trouble. My reputation. Micromanaging is all about the fear of the person doing the micromanaging. If you're wondering about all of the noises in the background, we have a new puppy, and my 4-year-old and my puppy are discovering each other. Y'all may have remembered this from a couple of videos back. So that's what all the random noise is today. Now, the other thing that you can do to help with the micromanaging is focus on the results, not the process. I became known for telling my leaders whenever I was new to them or they were new to me that don't look at the process. The process is ugly, but the results are going to be beautiful. Because I people couldn't always understand how I worked. Now, when I became a leader of others, then it was important that I would say, this is what we want to do. This is the goal. This is how we want to get there. What do you need from me to get there? They would tell me what they needed to get there, and then they would just get it done. And I would judge the results, not the process. If you're a micromanager, stay out of the process. You don't need to be there anyways. And then the third thing that we're going to talk about is to remember that micromanaging, it's not good for you or the employee. Micromanaging will impact your health. You're always feeling tense and stressed. You're always having to follow up on people and add extra steps. You don't have the time to do the things that you want to do. It can suck the enjoyment out of your job for you and your employees. There's no benefit to it. Micromanaging, especially in our day and age, does not have a place. Tell your employees what you expect from them, hold them accountable to those expectations, and then let them deliver on the expectations. That's where the fun is. Now, up here, there's going to be a link that's going to come up that's going to go back to a video, I don't know, maybe 7-8 months ago, but it's a oldie but a goodie. It talks about finding the ones who know when to break the rules. As leaders, we need to have our employees that we know we can go to when the impossible needs to happen and they can make it happen. Surround yourself with those who know when to break the rules. Thank you for joining me this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please consider sharing, liking, and commenting. The more you interact with the video, the more people are going to see it. Have a wonderful week. Don't forget, you got this.